Leo.
Hello Leo, this is your forecast for September 2015, and the month is starting out with something that I know that you're absolutely going to love and appreciate. We got Venus and Mars together here in your sign, in your first house, so the expression of love, joy, passion, those things that you really appreciate are coming into being. Those of you in a relationship, this is what you want to mark off on your calendar for a date night. For those of you single, well, you might just come to meet that special other person here on this day. So definitely you don't want to be sitting at home. Now, I'm feeling too, there is a sense and a level of creativity, inspiration coming to you. And the self-expression here, it's you bringing all of those inner spiritual energies up and out to your surroundings. What we also do have here, just the week later here on the 8th, Mars, which is still here in your sign, is in a place here of change, okay, and it might come to you unexpectedly. This is because Uranus always brings that wow factor, the unexpected, and Mars is action, direction, and so forth. So Uranus being in your 9th house, this could be perhaps news coming from somebody afar, out of state, out of country. Maybe you yourself might be traveling at this time. And if so, I would like to say it's a beautiful time for you to get out and about and meet new people, new cultures. So maybe some of you are having a late vacation this year. Not a bad choice at all. Now, having Uranus in the 9th house, you're changing here, Leo. And it's been a slow process, but a good process. It's more like it's organically coming together for you as you're cracking open to the higher mind, the higher consciousness, which the 9th house represents. Uranus represents this higher consciousness. It's more like you're fine-tuning these higher frequencies of your chakras. And you might come to see that your outlook on life, your philosophy might be changing. Maybe new people are coming in that's sparking, triggering these neurons, should I say, which will allow you to look at life in a more liberated way. So on the 8th, having Mars now trining up to this planet, you might either hear something, read something, come upon something that's going to trigger it as well, where it will give you this epiphany of, oh my God, all right, here we go. It's like a signal that is calling you. We have on the 9th a special aspect. This is Mercury, so it's your communication, your way of thinking. It's going to come up against a challenge with Pluto here. And when there's square, well, then we know there is an issue at hand, right? But listen, I don't want you to look at it as a challenge or a problem, especially this time around with this square, because Mercury rules our thoughts, our linear communication, and so forth. But I would like to look at it as an opportunity from the universe, giving you this situation, because I feel it's going to trigger something that's been in your consciousness, been in your life for a while, some old triggers, should I say. And here we go again, right? And yes, there is an initial reaction that you will be feeling. However, though, this Mercury is going to turn retrograde, meaning not only are you going to have the square on the 9th, you're going to have the same situation coming up a little later in the month on the 24th. However, then Mercury will be retrograde, which is not only going to bring it back to you, but it's going to give you a second chance to process through this situation. And I feel for you, it has everything to do about voicing those things that might have in the past annoyed you, where you stifled it, you didn't express it, kind of just stuffing, right? And sometimes we stuff, right, because we don't want sensitivity issues, right? But here now, it's allowing you to to bring it up and bring it out. And once it's moist, it needs to go where it's going to go, and then it's out of your system. And not only that, but Mercury being in your third house this month is in the rulership of where it owns. It owns that third house. So it's extra powerful here. So it's like a double whammy Mercury connection. And on the 24th, Mars is coming into a square with Saturn. It's not really exact before the 25th, but it's still present here on the second round of this challenge. And Mars is your drive, your ambitions, your goals, your passion. And so you know what you want. And Mars here being in your sign, in Leo, the first house, it's empowering you, your sense of self. And Saturn here in your fourth house, well, by the time of the 25th, it's already moved because it's changing out of the fourth house of foundation in the past in your home. That was taken care of earlier here last month. Saturn at this time, after the 17th, has moved into your fifth house for now self-expression and creativity. So where you might have been feeling like you've been stifled or bound by circumstance, those Saturnian circumstances last 2.5 years, now that Saturn has moved into this new area of self-expression, you're owning it. You're saying, this is what I am doing. This is not just what I want to do, but what I am doing. Mars is coming in with this square, making it clear to your surroundings what you're communicating, that you've made plans and structures of what is important to you, and you're going to stick with it. So you're breaking away from what used to bind you and hold you, and it's more like a breakaway civilization taking place inside of your consciousness, because Mars now is really gearing up for a new 2-year round in your chart. Currently in your first house, it's going to go through all the 12 houses before it comes back 2 years from now. So what you're expressing, it's important how you express it, so it doesn't come too Plutonian, which becomes like sometimes a volcano. But there's the power of transformation, and in that sense, Pluto will want to change, and you want to express the change that you're looking for. And I feel, just since Mercury is coming from this third house, you have the power of gab. Your words will come out the way they need to. I see that your surroundings will listen, and they will hear it, and then you'll find your new balance. So it's a very important month, spiritually and mentally, which of course filters through the emotional. So pay attention to the 9th, the 24th. What situation, who are you talking to? Who are you giving some insights to as far as your new path? Because that's where the trigger point will lay. Pluto being squared, it's in your 6th house. So where it's transforming and wanting to transform is how it relates to your day-to-day life and routine. You might have felt in the past that your days could have been interrupted by many situations, people wanting, needing you, that actually didn't take anything anywhere except for stealing your time. You're looking at waste. Now that's what Pluto looks at. You know, the things that we cut off, that waste, so it can regenerate and renew itself. Why? Because especially here for you when Pluto's in the 6th house, you're looking at health. You're looking at how can I revamp my health. So you're just basically expressing what you no longer want to do, that's just depleting your energy, so that you can actually renew your physical, mental, and emotional body strength, all right? This is why it's important. But then we have the sun. We have the new moon and Jupiter in your 2nd house. Money and income. This is a month where you'll be looking at your value systems in the overall. Yes, your financials. What do you have? What can you expect coming in? What I really love is that Jupiter now has concluded its journey in the 1st house, so you've been expanding, broadening, should I say, your vision. You've already laid the foundation of the next 12 years this last year, but now you're looking at how can it work for you? how can you expand upon it? How will it give you dividends, you know, as far as your own inner worth? So travel can be important this coming year. Jupiter will also look at other possible multiple income streams. Foreign people can become very important to you as to how you can expand your financial income. But here you have a whole year for that with Jupiter. But the new moon and the sun this month, having the new moon here, this is where you want to place your intentions for the coming month, but also for the coming year. It's now that you want to put down your abundance check, the new moon being on the 13th, 20 degrees in Virgo. So whoever has planets at other aspects in your chart at 20 degrees, the new moon will ricochet off of those. But yes, the abundance check is important, especially because you have it in your second house. That's like a double whammy just for you Leos this month. Then we have Saturn. Yes, you have been working on your foundation. You've been working on your homes, securing it, structuring it, moving it, whatever other burdens or responsibilities that's been upon you. That's going out now, all right? Saturn is now leaving on the 17th into your 5th house. So the life lessons now learned about your past, your family, say your childhood, your teens, growing up, processing through whatever programming you were given as a young child, you've kind of like been looking at that right now and kind of think, I'm rewriting those old programs, sticking with what was good, all the good, you know, things that we learned from our parents or teachers growing up. Of course, we want to embrace that onwards. But then there might have been some other programmings that just attached itself to the subconsciousness. You've become very aware of that when Saturn's been in this area of your past, especially parental programming, which is Saturnian based in the Cancerian house. So that's Saturn and Moon, right? Father, mother. And then coming into the deep internal self. Now you're going to feel like something has lifted. Saturn is now going to be focusing on how can you manifest your creativity. Saturn's going to hold your nose to the grindstone here. You will feel that self-expression will become more important in how it comes out. The 5th house is also love and joy and playfulness. It's your house. You rule the 5th house. It's the Leo house. And having Saturn going through here, it's a little bit like having Saturn on the sun, but it's not really. It's just Saturn in the area there. So yes, you might feel that Saturn's holding you to something, but what it's holding it to you to is asking you, now is the time to manifest, focus on your creativity. How can I get it up and out? Who can help me get it up and out? You know, who are my liaisons? You will come to see that this is going to set you up to a level of synchronicity between now, the next 2.5, 3 years. It's in the sign of Sagittarius. So Sag may bring foreign people to you. Or you may be traveling to foreign countries to get some of this inspiration up and out of your system. It's going to be exciting to see exactly how it will manifest. But after the 17th, this is when transformation is taking place. You had a little taste of it there, end of last year and coming in there the first couple of months of 2015. But then it retrograded. So it kind of stepped back a little bit. So you had time to kind of wrap up all the old. So now you can push out and go to where you are and have been wanting to head. Pluto's 6th house, it's going to turn direct this month here on the 27th. It's in your health house. You have had time to relax, step back a little bit from whatever now has been your goal of transforming your body, your diets, your workouts, but also 6th house is very important to look at how you organize your day-to-day life. Pluto's really upping this area for you. where you're going to be allowed to work more efficiently by cutting away dead space, dead time, things that just zap you, steal your energy. Pluto's saying, I'm going to streamline this. You know, it's like whatever enhances my journey, that I will stick to and carry forward. But anything else, it's like there's going to be very little patience for what just steals and moves you into the dead time zone, so to speak. You have a lot to do. You know that. It's calling you forward. You're listening here. And when I say you're listening, it's because you're listening to your higher mind. And that higher mind is Uranian, Uranus, there in the 9th house. So your consciousness is growing, it's expanding, it's exciting, and you're going to have the full moon here on the 27th at 4 degrees Aries in this same area. It's not going to be conjunct exactly to Uranus when it's full, but then just within the first few hours, you know, the moon moves very quickly. It will pass over Uranus while it's full, if we could put it that way, in this area. So the 27th should be an interesting day for you to be able to get some epiphany, some higher thought that can just filter through your consciousness that can actually become a very great inspiration to you. So at least that is illuminated. We're moving on to the 17th. Jupiter in your 2nd house for money. It is opposing Neptune there in the 8th house. So you're kind of looking at your income on a monthly basis as opposed to your savings. You know, what you have there in your shared accounts, which is either held in investments and so forth. So you're kind of thinking, well, maybe I could do this and maybe I can do that. So there's some little shift going on, or some decisions that you might be making. On the 22nd, I love this date too. This is when Venus and Uranus meets up in a trine. And a trine is always that glorious aspect which brings joy and happiness and laughter. And Venus still being in your 1st house and Uranus being in your 9th house. These two, it's more like you, foreign people, or maybe higher education, or maybe you're studying or coming upon something you'd like to study. If you're having something being published, which is also a 9th house area, you might have some news from a publisher at that time. If you're waiting for a suit to finalize, there might be good news upon it. So you're just going to have to see how it's going to play out for you, but there's excitement. We always like that wow factor. On the 23rd, it's leaving you feeling really nice, happy, healthy, stable. The sun being in your 2nd house here with a sextile to Saturn, which is now in your 5th. You're looking at whatever you heard there on the 22nd, kind of ties into what it is you're wanting to do, what it is you're wanting to manifest. So that stability, it's like one of the first aspects Saturn is getting or receiving here as it has changed its signs. And so it's really sending Saturn off on a good note with you kind of endorsing it. Then the 24th and 25th, as I mentioned, that is that 2nd round with Mercury and Pluto. If you didn't resolve anything on the 9th, you're going to have go at it again here. Now with the retrograde of Mercury, so the universe is giving you the 2nd chance this quickly to kind of straighten it up, find a resolve, stand your ground. Mars knows what it wants to do, and Saturn's very adamant about you hanging on to this new concept of what it is you're wanting now to push forward with. So it could be interesting for you, Leo, especially for those of you in a relationship, to listen to your partner's chart, just to see whether this issue perhaps might be coming up between you or him or her, so that you'll have a little bit more insight where in their chart it's going to affect them, because wherever it's playing out there for them, you'll be a little bit more, should I say, forewarned, or at least set to take whatever is coming up. Yes, and then we have a few events here this month. Venus moving direct between the 6th and 7th, depending on where you live, which time zone you're in. Venus being in your first house, it's giving you an extensive time, and we love, not just women, we do, because Venus is our ruler, right? But having it in the first house like you have had now, it's when we radiate and shine the most, okay? When charisma really comes up and out and across. It's giving you extended weeks. Normally it passes through there really quickly, like 3 to 4 weeks. But you've had it for a long time, all through that of August, and now you will have it until the 6th and 7th, and then it will still have half of the sign to go in direct motion before it leaves your first house. So enjoy that. Mercury, as mentioned, between September 17th to October 9th, retrograde. So we want to step back from having to sign anything if we don't absolutely have to. So if we can, it's just because contracts can go haywire. They can turn around and whatnot, and especially since it has to do with your third house, might have to do with documentations and contracts. Now, you could also expect maybe some delays if you're out traveling, since the third house has to do with touch and go type of travel, not necessarily long distance, but yeah, you can experience some of that maybe as well. Saturn into Sagittarius on the 17th, we have Mars changing signs from Leo, from your first house, moving into your second house. So it's going to be focusing here on your money, your income, your sense of self and self-worth after the 25th, and then Pluto going direct on the 27th. And on the 27th, not only will Pluto in your 6th house direct, but you have the full moon on the 27th, and we did talk a little bit about that earlier in your 9th house for higher thoughts, spirituality, and long-distance travel, and what feels fair to you. It's the house of justice. So whatever you would like to balance up to feel that things are in great balance for you, this day would be the day which will illuminate that for you. So I want to thank you for listening also to the tarot readings. They do complement the astrological readings. They're just two of my very favorite tools. They come together really well. Been working both fields since back in the 70s. And so I'm really thankful, and I appreciate all the positive feedback from it. And listen, I will see you in October, and do try to get your moon and rising sign reading along with you. And till next time, take care now.